If you've ever felt like your thoughts don't come out clearly, or that people don't quite understand what you want to say, you're not alone. Speaking clearly and confidently isn't something we're all born with. It's a skill you can build every day. Imagine feeling calm and sure when you talk, no matter who's listening. Picture yourself sharing your ideas in a way that grabs attention and makes a real impact. In this video, I'm going to share simple, practical steps that can help you become more articulate. These aren't complicated rules or fancy tricks. They're easy habits and fresh ways of thinking that anyone can use. Whether you want to speak better in conversations, meetings, or just everyday life, these ideas will guide you to grow your confidence and express yourself clearly. You'll learn how to strengthen your inner voice, build your confidence fast, sharpen your responses, and control the way you speak, all by changing small daily habits. This journey is about more than just talking better. It's about leading your life with clear purpose, so your words match your true self. Stick with me, and by the end, you'll have real tools to improve your speech and the motivation to keep practicing every day. Let's start this path towards speaking with power and clarity, so your message always lands the way you want it to. Chapter 1. Build clear thoughts before you open your mouth. If you want to be more articulate, the first and most important step is to learn how to build clear thoughts before you open your mouth. It sounds simple, but most people skip this. They start speaking before they know what they really want to say. They confuse speaking with thinking, and when your thoughts aren't clear, your words scatter. They lose power. They confuse instead of connect. You've probably had moments where you started talking and halfway through realized you weren't making sense, or you kept repeating yourself, or you used 10 words when 5 would have been better. This doesn't mean you lack intelligence. It means your thinking wasn't finished before your words began. This is where growth begins, not with more vocabulary or fancier phrases, but with learning how to think better first. Clear thinking is not about being fast. It's about being honest. It means slowing down and asking yourself, what exactly do I mean? What point am I trying to make? What feeling am I trying to share? What truth am I trying to explain? Before your words form sentences, your thoughts must take shape. And to do that, you need to become aware of the mental clutter you carry. The distractions, the assumptions, the noise. A clear thought is quiet and simple. It doesn't try to impress. It just knows exactly where it's going. When you practice building clear thoughts, your speech becomes sharp, your presence becomes calm, and your communication becomes something people remember. Because in a world full of noise, clarity is rare, and rare things stand out. Most people live in a rush. They answer before they reflect. They react before they process. They speak to be heard, not to be understood. And as a result, their conversations often feel empty. If you want to be different, choose to slow down. Build your thoughts like you're building a house. Start with a foundation. What is the one idea you want to express? Just one, not 5. 1. That's the base. Then ask yourself, how do I feel about this idea? What experience shaped it? What example can support it? What does the other person need to hear? Not what you want to say, but what would help them understand. This is the structure of a clear thought. 1 point, 1 feeling, 1 example, 1 takeaway. Simple, but strong. It might feel unnatural at first. You might feel like you're pausing too long. You might think silence means weakness. It doesn't. It means you're thinking. It means you respect your words enough not to waste them. People who pause before speaking often say the most impactful things. Their silence isn't empty. It's preparation. Every word that follows has direction. It lands, and it stays with people. That's the kind of speaker you want to become. Not the one who speaks the most, but the one who speaks with purpose. You'll notice this especially in difficult conversations. When emotions rise, people talk fast. They interrupt. They defend. They try to win. But the most grounded person in the room is the one who takes a moment, who gathers their thoughts, who speaks not from ego, but from intention. That person gains respect without trying. If you want to build this habit, you need to start with your everyday moments. Don't wait for a big speech. Start small. Before you answer a question, take one breath. Before you give an opinion, ask yourself if you truly believe it. Before you tell a story, ask yourself what the point is. This 1-second pause will train your mind to think ahead. Over time, it becomes natural. And this natural pause will give your words more weight. People will notice it. They'll listen more closely. Not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. And clarity always commands attention. To build clearer thoughts, you also need to remove mental noise. You can't think clearly if your mind is full of distractions. This means you need to create space in your day to reflect. Not once a month, every day, even for 10 minutes. Sit quietly. Ask yourself how you're feeling. What's bothering you? What you've been avoiding? What you need to say but haven't. These moments of reflection will clean your mental space. They'll bring your real thoughts to the surface. And once you know what's inside you, your speech becomes honest. Most people don't struggle with words. They struggle with knowing what they feel. They talk around things. They talk through filters. They avoid saying what's true. But when you make time to know yourself, your words align with your values. They feel real. And people can feel it. Clarity also comes from writing. Writing is thinking on paper. When you write, you slow down your thoughts. You see your logic. You catch your confusion. And you force yourself to finish your thinking. If you want to be more articulate, write more often. Not just to publish, but to understand yourself. Every day, write a few sentences about something that matters to you. Don't edit. Don't worry about style. Just explain what you think and why. Over time, you'll notice patterns. You'll see which ideas are solid and which ones are vague. And as your thinking gets clearer on paper, your speaking will follow. Writing teaches your mind to respect structure. It trains you to form ideas with a beginning, middle, and end. And that's what makes speech powerful. Structure. There's another reason people struggle to speak clearly. They try to sound smart. They use big words, complicated sentences, abstract phrases. But all this does is push people away. Articulate people don't speak to impress. They speak to connect. They use everyday words. They say what they mean, and they don't pretend to know what they don't. Simplicity is not a weakness. It's a strength. It shows that you understand your own ideas deeply enough to explain them in simple terms. The clearer your thoughts are in your own head, the simpler your words become. That's how you know your thinking is sharp. When you can say it plainly, don't confuse talking fast with talking well. Don't confuse sounding intelligent with being understood. The goal is not to look impressive. The goal is to speak with purpose. One clear thought is more powerful than 100 scattered ones. Every time you open your mouth, ask yourself, what is the one thing I want them to remember? That's your North Star. Speak around that. If you don't know the answer, you're not ready to speak yet. And that's okay. It's better to pause than to pour out confusion. Discipline your speech by disciplining your mind first. The more you practice this, the more confident you become. Not because you know everything, but because you know yourself. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to fill silence with noise. You become comfortable with pauses. You become thoughtful in how you speak. People will notice it. You'll be the one in the room who brings clarity, not chaos. Calm, not confusion. Your words will carry weight, not just sound. And the foundation of it all is clear thinking. You build clear thoughts the same way you build strength, slowly, daily, with effort. Every conversation is a chance to practice. Every response is an opportunity to pause. Every idea is a chance to go deeper. When someone asks for your opinion, don't rush. Think. Ask yourself what you really believe, why you believe it, how it fits into your life, and only then, speak. That habit will transform you. You'll no longer be just a talker. You'll be a communicator. Someone who speaks with presence, not just volume. And here's the truth. People trust those who think before they speak. They listen more closely. They remember more. They respect more. Because in a noisy world, a clear voice is rare. And to build that voice, you must build clear thoughts. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Real thoughts. Real words. Real impact. That's how you become articulate. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to slow down. Think clearly. Speak with purpose. And keep practicing every day. The rest will take care of itself. Start small. One sentence. One moment of pause. One clear idea. And from there build a life where every word counts. Not for show. Not for approval. But for truth, for connection, for meaning. That's how change begins. With one clear thought, spoken with intention. Everything after that is momentum. Chapter 2. Speak out loud to strengthen your inner voice. Most people don't realize how weak their inner voice has become until they try to speak out loud and hear the hesitation, the shakiness, the self-doubt in their tone. Speaking isn't just about making sounds, it's about shaping your identity, finding your truth, and claiming your space in the world. If you avoid speaking out loud, your inner voice stays quiet, scattered, and unsure. But the moment you begin to speak, even if no one else is listening, you begin to build something powerful inside you. You begin to reinforce belief, sharpen clarity, and remove fear. Speaking out loud is a tool for building inner strength, not just communication skill. Your inner voice is not some abstract idea. It is the foundation of your self-image, the story you tell yourself every day about who you are and what you are capable of. And like any part of yourself, it must be trained, exercised, and challenged. When you speak out loud, especially in your private space, you are giving structure to your thoughts and direction to your emotions. You're not just letting ideas swirl in your head, you're giving them weight. You're forcing your thoughts to face reality. If they're confused, you'll hear it. If they're clear, you'll feel it. And each time you do it, you become a little more stable inside. Too many people wait for the perfect moment to speak. They wait until they have the right audience, the right words, the right mood. But strength isn't built in performance, it's built in practice. And that practice starts with speaking when no one is watching. Speak when you're alone. Speak while walking. Speak while preparing for your day. Speak when you're unsure. It's not about reciting rehearsed lines. It's about engaging with your own voice. Talk about your goals. Express how you feel. Argue your ideas. Challenge your assumptions. The more you speak to yourself, the more you start to trust yourself. That trust is the core of confidence. People often think confidence comes from results, from winning, from being praised, but real confidence comes from repetition, from doing the thing over and over again until it feels normal, until it feels like a part of who you are. Speaking out loud is repetition that builds that belief. You may stumble, you may sound awkward. That's not failure. That's growth. Your voice is a muscle. It needs to be stretched. It needs resistance. And every time you speak out loud, you give that muscle another rep. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is familiarity. You want your voice to become so familiar to you that it no longer feels like a risk to use it. There's a quiet transformation that happens when you hear your own words clearly. You begin to catch patterns. You hear your doubts, your excuses, your exaggerations. But you also hear your strength, your insight, your values. Speaking aloud reveals who you are becoming. It forces you to take responsibility for your message. When your thoughts live only in your head, they're safe. But when you speak them out, they become real. And that reality is the beginning of change. Many people fear speaking because they fear judgment. But when you learn to speak out loud to yourself first, you train yourself to stop needing approval. You stop waiting for permission. You stop shrinking to fit others' expectations. You begin to lead yourself. You begin to own your voice. And when the time comes to speak in public, to lead a conversation, to express an idea, you won't hesitate. You'll already be familiar with your tone, your rhythm, your message. That inner preparation becomes your outer confidence. One of the most effective ways to strengthen your inner voice is by narrating your thoughts during daily tasks. It sounds simple, but it creates powerful self-awareness. When you're making a decision, speak your reasoning out loud. When you're facing a challenge, describe what you're feeling. When you're reflecting on your day, talk through what went well and what didn't. This practice helps you process instead of suppress. It keeps you connected to your values. It sharpens your thinking. It rewires your brain to express instead of avoid. It builds the habit of facing your life instead of escaping it. Another way to strengthen your inner voice is to challenge yourself to explain your beliefs clearly. Pick something you deeply care about and try to explain it out loud in your own words. Don't try to sound smart. Try to sound real. Say it like you would to a close friend. If you can't explain it clearly, you haven't thought about it deeply enough. This practice will expose the gaps in your understanding, but it will also push you to get sharper. Every time you do this, your thinking improves. And as your thinking improves, your voice gains weight. It becomes more grounded, more honest, more trustworthy. Speaking out loud also improves your emotional resilience. When you give voice to your struggles, you take power away from them. You create distance between yourself and your pain. You turn emotion into expression, and that expression becomes healing. Whether you're frustrated, sad, anxious, or lost, speak it. Don't bottle it up. Don't bury it. Let it out. Not to complain, but to clarify. Your voice is a release valve for pressure. Use it. The more you do, the less control your emotions have over you, and the more control you gain over how you respond to life. This habit also teaches you how to be your own guide. When you speak out loud, you can coach yourself through problems. You can reason through fear. You can remind yourself of what you know is true. You become your own motivator. You become your own voice of reason. Instead of being swept away by stress, you start to stand tall inside it, because you've built a habit of hearing yourself out. That habit becomes a lifeline during hard times. It reminds you that your voice matters, even when no one else is listening. If you want to live a stronger life, you need a stronger voice. And if you want a stronger voice, you need to use it every day, not just when it's easy. Speak up when you're uncertain. Speak out when you're nervous. Speak truth when it's tempting to stay quiet. Start in private so you can show up in public. Don't aim to sound perfect. Aim to sound like you, because that is what gives your voice power, authenticity, repetition, and clarity. Every time you speak out loud, you give your inner voice more structure. You shape your thoughts. You affirm your identity. You build resilience. Over time, this practice rewires how you see yourself. You stop shrinking. You stop doubting. You stop second-guessing your right to speak. You begin to live from a deeper place. A place where your words come from awareness, not reaction. From truth, not fear. That kind of voice doesn't just help you speak better. It helps you live better, because your voice is not just how you communicate with the world, it's how you communicate with yourself. And that conversation is the one that shapes everything else. Chapter 3. Practice daily speaking to improve your confidence fast. Most people overthink speaking before they even try, and in doing so they postpone growth. The truth is simple. The fastest way to build confidence in your voice is to use it every single day. Not once a week, not when you feel ready, not only in special situations, every single day. Consistency creates momentum. Speaking becomes less intimidating when it becomes a normal part of your daily rhythm. You stop seeing it as a performance and start treating it like a basic tool for life. Daily speaking practice rewires your brain to view communication as second nature, not a risky step. Confidence doesn't grow in silence. It grows in motion. You can read about speaking, think about being confident, even admire others who speak well. But none of that changes your own ability until you practice. That practice has to be personal, persistent, and purposeful. When you speak daily, you begin to hear your own development. You recognize where your tone improves, where your words come smoother, and where your presence begins to carry more weight. You don't need an audience to start. You need discipline and a reason. And the best reason is this: you deserve to be heard. Start by setting a time each day when you speak with intention. It doesn't need to be long. Even 5 minutes will create change if you do it with focus. Use your phone to record your voice. Reflect on your ideas. Rehearse conversations. Prepare for challenges. Speak about your plans. Summarize what you've learned. The more you use your voice with purpose, the more power you bring to it. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about being ready, and readiness comes from repeated exposure to the experience of speaking itself. You must begin before you feel good at it. Don't wait to be articulate before you speak. Speak until you become articulate. Confidence shows up when you've shown up enough times without it. The early days might feel uncomfortable, even clumsy. That's not failure. That's foundation. Every great communicator once struggled to be understood. Every confident speaker once hesitated. What separates them from others is that they kept showing up, even when it felt awkward. They didn't run from discomfort. They used it to sharpen their skills. Don't rely only on random moments throughout the day. Design your practice. Be intentional. Pick a topic you care about. Challenge yourself to explain it clearly. Make eye contact with yourself in the mirror. Observe your expressions. Notice your posture. Watch how your voice changes when you believe in what you're saying. Your physical presence influences your mental strength. Training your voice daily shapes how you carry yourself in every area of life. It's not just about sounding better. It's about becoming someone who stands taller, speaks clearer, and connects deeper. Speak in different environments. Speak while walking. Speak while cooking. Speak while driving. Move your voice through different states and moments, so it becomes flexible, so it doesn't crack under pressure, so you don't freeze when someone unexpectedly turns to you and asks for your opinion. Daily speaking gives your nervous system a new baseline. What once felt like a threat now feels like a task. What once made you anxious now feels like routine. Confidence is often mistaken as a gift when it's really a product of repetition. You also learn more about yourself through your own voice than you do by staying silent. When you speak daily, you start to understand your habits. You hear when you hesitate. You notice when your thoughts drift. You pick up on patterns that once went unnoticed. This awareness creates control. You can't change what you don't notice, and daily practice reveals everything. From your volume to your clarity, from your pace to your word choice, you become a student of yourself. And the more you understand yourself, the easier it becomes to express yourself. Use daily speaking to experiment. Try new words. Try new tones. Practice conviction. Practice curiosity. Don't settle into one pattern. Let your voice grow. Let it evolve. The more ways you practice speaking, the more tools you build for real-world conversations. You don't want just one tone or one speed. You want range. You want to speak with gravity when it's time to lead and warmth when it's time to listen. That kind of skill doesn't happen randomly. It's built with small, consistent effort. You will face days when you don't want to speak, when your energy is low or your mind feels scattered. That's when practice matters most. Those are the days that build resilience. Those are the moments that separate people who grow from people who stay stuck. When you practice daily, even through resistance, you teach your body and mind that your growth doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on your discipline, and that discipline becomes your edge. While others wait for confidence, you're creating it. Confidence isn't loud or aggressive. It's calm. It's steady. It doesn't seek approval. It stands in truth. When you practice speaking daily, you develop that calm. You learn how to stay steady under pressure. You learn how to keep your message clear, even when emotions rise. You become someone who doesn't crumble in difficult moments because you've trained for them. You've put in the reps. You've shown up when no one was watching. And that inner preparation becomes unshakable strength. Speaking daily also builds courage. The courage to say what you mean. The courage to face disagreement. The courage to stand up for your values. You can't borrow courage. You can't fake it. It has to be built. And every time you speak with honesty, you grow it. Every time you practice in your own voice, you build a deeper connection to your integrity. That connection makes you a more grounded person, not just a better speaker. You don't need to wait for opportunities to speak. Create them. Speak your ideas aloud when you're alone. Call a friend and share something meaningful. Join a group where speaking is encouraged. Say more during meetings. Ask more questions. Respond with clarity instead of shrinking back. Turn everyday moments into training. Speak with the cashier. Speak during small talk. Speak with intent. Don't just say words. Deliver thoughts. Deliver presence. Deliver yourself. The biggest mistake people make is believing that speaking is just a skill. It's more than that. It's a practice that shapes how you experience life. The more you speak, the more you participate in your own life. You stop being passive. You stop holding back. You step into each day with the ability to contribute, to influence, to connect. That is the kind of confidence that moves you forward, not just in communication but in everything. Daily speaking is not about sounding impressive. It's about becoming authentic. It's about building a voice that matches your values, one that doesn't disappear under pressure, one that knows how to handle real life. And once you develop that voice, it stays with you. In every room, in every challenge, in every opportunity, you'll carry the confidence that you built one day, one word, one honest sentence at a time. Chapter 4. Listen with focus to sharpen how you respond. Most people think good communication is about what they say, but the truth is that what you hear shapes how well you speak. Your response is only as strong as your understanding, and your understanding is only as clear as your focus when listening. Real listening is not about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about giving your full attention, not just to the words being said, but to the meaning behind them. When you listen with full presence, you become more in tune with what matters. You recognize what's being asked, what's being felt, and what's not being said. That level of awareness sharpens how you reply and gives your words greater weight. Focused listening is a discipline. It demands effort, not just interest. In a world filled with noise and distractions, the ability to truly listen is rare. Most people are distracted by their thoughts, busy forming their next sentence while the other person is still speaking. That habit weakens connection and leads to shallow responses. But when you train yourself to listen completely, to hold off judgment, to silence your inner monologue, and to make space for the person in front of you, your response becomes more precise, more thoughtful, and more aligned with the moment. You improve your speech by improving your input. If you only half listen, you'll only half understand, and what you say next will reflect that. Strong communicators pay attention with their whole body. Their eyes stay steady. Their posture is open. Their mind stays quiet. They don't interrupt. They let the speaker finish. They don't just listen to reply, they listen to absorb. This kind of focus takes practice, especially when conversations turn emotional or uncomfortable. But those are the moments that test your discipline and shape your character. If you can stay centered and fully engaged when emotions are high, you earn trust. And trust makes your voice more effective. You must remind yourself often that listening is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's power under control. It gives you the edge in any conversation because people open up more when they feel heard. They lower their guard. They speak more honestly. And when that happens, your response can go deeper. You're no longer reacting, you're responding with clarity, purpose, and care. This doesn't just improve how you communicate. It changes the quality of your relationships. It makes people feel understood, which is one of the most important feelings you can offer. There's a reason the most respected leaders, teachers, and advisors are often quiet when others talk. They've trained themselves to listen for meaning, for truth, and for opportunity. They know that real influence doesn't come from speaking more. It comes from speaking with impact, and impact requires awareness. If you want your words to matter, you must make the effort to understand the situation fully before you speak. That begins by giving the person in front of you your complete attention, without drifting into your own thoughts or distractions. Practice this in everyday moments. When someone talks to you, don't just hear them, focus on every word. Slow yourself down. Let their words land. Don't plan your reply in your mind. Let the silence come. Let the full message reach you. Then speak. That pause, that reflection, that space between listening and responding, that's where clarity is born. It's in that space that you find the right words, because now your response is grounded in full understanding. To sharpen your response, you need to train your attention. In today's world, attention is fractured. Phones buzz, thoughts race, Background noise interrupts, but your power lies in reclaiming your focus. The better you get at being fully present in conversation, the more thoughtful and articulate you become. You no longer stumble through half-formed thoughts. You speak from a place of calm observation. You speak with precision because you've taken the time to fully see and hear what's in front of you. Listening also teaches you patience, and patience strengthens your character. You learn to hold back the need to rush, to fix, to prove a point. You give yourself the discipline to wait for full understanding. This inner stillness makes your voice stronger. You're no longer reacting to pressure. You're responding with purpose. You become someone who doesn't speak because they need to say something. You speak because you've listened enough to say something worth hearing. To grow in this area, remove distractions when you're in a conversation. Put away your phone. Turn off background noise. Create an environment that invites real presence. Then watch how your awareness deepens. Notice the small shifts in tone, the pauses between words, the emotions behind the message. Let the conversation unfold without trying to control it. Your only job in that moment is to understand, and once you've fully listened, the right response will come with far less effort and far more power. Over time, this practice changes how people experience you. They begin to see you as someone who pays attention, someone who understands, someone who speaks with substance. That kind of presence is rare, and it leaves a lasting impression. It makes you trustworthy, not just in what you say but in how you show up. People remember how you made them feel, and when they feel truly heard, they remember you as someone who brings clarity and calm into every conversation. Listening with focus also sharpens your instincts. You begin to notice patterns in how people speak. You recognize when they're hiding something, when they're unsure, when they need encouragement, or when they just need silence. This sensitivity gives your communication a different quality. You respond with more precision because you've learned how to read people more clearly. You no longer guess, you understand, and that understanding becomes your strength. The more you listen with focus, the more respect you earn, not just from others but from yourself. You begin to trust your voice because you know it comes from full awareness, not impulse. You don't blurt, you deliver. You don't compete for attention, you create connection. That shift from reacting to responding, from interrupting to understanding, marks the difference between someone who talks and someone who communicates. As you train yourself to listen fully, you'll notice that your conversations become deeper. You'll stop wasting words. You'll say less but mean more. You'll get to the point quicker, not because you're rushing, but because your thoughts are clearer. And clarity in thought leads to clarity in speech. That's how listening helps you become more articulate. It clears the fog. It centers your mind. It sharpens your ideas before they even reach your mouth. If you want to grow in your ability to speak well, start by refining how you receive others. Every great communicator is first a great listener, not because it's easy, but because they've made it a habit. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You just need the will to practice. In the next conversation you have, give someone your full attention. Let go of the need to speak quickly. Focus. Observe. Let their words guide your next thought. That's how you speak with wisdom, not just words. Chapter 5. Read great writing to upgrade how you speak. If you want to speak with strength, clarity, and purpose, you must train your mind with language that reflects those same qualities. The words you speak are shaped by the words you absorb. Every sentence you read leaves a mark on your thinking. Every paragraph you encounter stretches or shrinks your capacity to express yourself. and every idea you spend time with becomes part of the foundation from which your own ideas rise. That's why reading great writing is not a luxury. It's not something you do when you have spare time. It's a daily discipline that strengthens your voice from the inside out. The kind of writing you consume matters. Not all writing teaches you to speak better. Some writing fills your head with clutter. Some reduces your attention span. Some keeps your thinking shallow. But great writing, writing that is clear, meaningful, timeless, and honest, elevates your mind. It sharpens your vocabulary without sounding artificial. It teaches rhythm and structure without you even noticing. It helps you think in more organized ways, which naturally leads to more organized speech. If you want to improve how you express yourself, begin by improving the material you let shape your thoughts. You don't need to read for hours each day. You just need to read with attention. Even 10 minutes of great writing, read with care, can make more of an impact than 2 hours of mindless scrolling. The quality of your input is what matters most. Choose writing that challenges you, that makes you pause and reflect, that stretches the limits of how you normally think. When you read words that are purposeful, you learn to become more purposeful in how you speak. You learn to drop unnecessary phrases. You start using more direct language. You begin to say what you mean without hiding behind weak expressions or vague ideas. Over time, this becomes a habit. The more you surround yourself with well-written material, the more your inner voice changes. You'll notice that your thoughts start to carry more weight. Your ideas will begin to unfold in more structured ways. You'll hear yourself becoming more deliberate in how you speak. And it won't feel forced. It will feel natural, because your mind will have absorbed the rhythm and clarity of great writing through steady exposure. This is not about sounding fancy or using complicated words. Speaking well is not about sounding intellectual. It's about saying things in a way that people understand and remember. Great writers do this, not by trying to impress, but by working hard to be understood. They remove the unnecessary. They focus on meaning. They respect the reader's time. That mindset is what you should take into your own speech. If the words you choose serve the idea clearly, powerfully, and honestly, then you've succeeded. Read a variety of voices. Read authors who challenge your perspective. Read essays that have stood the test of time. Read speeches that moved nations. Read fiction that explores the depths of the human condition. Each type of writing teaches something different. Some sharpen your sense of story. Others refine your understanding of tone, timing, or structure. The more styles you encounter, the more versatile your own voice becomes. You'll begin to notice patterns. Certain writers use silence, pauses between ideas, to build tension and emphasis. Some use repetition with intention. Others master the short sentence, making each word carry weight. You'll see how some use metaphor to make complex topics simple, and how others cut straight through noise with brutal clarity. These lessons don't need to be taught in a classroom. They reveal themselves through observation and attention. As you read, ask yourself, why did that sentence work so well? What made it powerful? How did the writer keep me engaged? These questions sharpen your eye, which then sharpens your voice. You must also read slowly. Don't rush through books just to finish them. The goal is not speed. The goal is absorption. Reread the sentences that move you. Linger on paragraphs that make you pause. Read out loud to hear the rhythm. When something strikes you as powerful, stop and reflect on it. These moments of reflection are where transformation happens. They rewire your inner monologue, which is where all your speech begins. Writing and speaking both draw from the same well. Your mind. You can't pour out what hasn't been poured in. So fill your mind with words that are rich, with thoughts that are deep, and with writing that shows care. As your mind becomes more refined, your voice will follow. You'll stop reaching for filler. You'll stop trailing off mid-sentence. You'll speak with more control, because your thinking will be more disciplined. You'll hold the attention of others, not by trying harder, but by speaking with quiet strength that reflects the clarity of your thought. When you read consistently, you also become more sensitive to nuance. You begin to understand tone and subtext. You pick up on the emotions beneath the words. You see how word choice changes the mood of a message. All of this makes you a more aware communicator. You'll be better at knowing when to speak, when to pause, when to push, and when to hold back. You'll know how to adjust your tone without losing your message. You'll know how to speak with authority while still showing empathy. If you're serious about improving your speech, create a habit of reading a few pages of great writing each day. Make it part of your routine, like exercise for your mind. Keep a notebook nearby. Write down the sentences that strike you. Reflect on why they mattered. Use them as models to refine your own voice. In time, you'll notice that when you speak, you sound more sure of yourself. Your words will come with less hesitation. Your sentences will land with more purpose. The secret to sounding better isn't found in flashy language. It's found in consistency. A consistent reading habit strengthens your thinking, and stronger thinking leads to better speaking. The voice you develop through reading is not an imitation of someone else's. It's your own voice, matured and sharpened by exposure to higher standards. You begin to hold yourself to that same standard, and the people you speak with will feel it. They'll hear the difference. They'll listen more closely. They'll respond more deeply. Not because you've changed who you are, but because you've given more care to how you think and how you express it. Read to learn. Read to grow. Read to challenge the edges of your thinking. And then speak from that place. Not with the goal of sounding impressive, but with the goal of being clear, useful, and real. That's how great writing transforms not just how you speak, but how you live. Chapter 6. Slow your speech to gain control and power. When you speak too quickly, your message loses weight. Words that rush out without space or pause feel less certain, less grounded. They carry the nervous energy of someone trying to outrun their own thoughts. But when you slow your speech, everything changes. The pace of your voice begins to match the strength of your presence. Each word lands with purpose. Each sentence earns its place. The person listening starts to lean in, not because you're louder, but because you've become more deliberate. Slowing down gives you control, not just over your voice, but over your entire interaction. There's something powerful about a calm speaker. Someone who doesn't need to race to the end of their thought. Someone who owns their silence as much as their sound. That kind of presence commands attention without ever demanding it. It's a presence built on steadiness, not urgency. And you don't have to be born with it. You can build it. You build it by becoming aware of your natural rhythm, noticing when you rush, and choosing to pause before the next word leaves your mouth. That pause, even if it lasts a second, gives you the power to direct your own tone, your own pace, your own meaning. When your speech slows, your thoughts have time to unfold. You stop reacting and start choosing. You don't grab the first word that comes to mind. You wait for the right one. You don't rush through a sentence. You shape it as it forms. This shift doesn't just improve your speaking. It deepens your thinking. It gives you room to recognize when you're speaking from emotion instead of clarity. It helps you avoid saying things you'll regret. It teaches you how to lead your words instead of being led by them. People often speak fast when they're trying to fill silence, cover uncertainty, or prove something. But silence doesn't need to be filled. Uncertainty doesn't need to be hidden. And confidence isn't proven by speed. It's proven by calm. When you give yourself permission to slow down, you also give yourself permission to be present. You become more connected to your breath, your body, and your message. You begin to notice how your words affect others. You learn how your tone shifts with different pacing. You stop blurting and start communicating. This discipline begins with awareness. Start by noticing when you feel the urge to speed up. Maybe it happens when you feel nervous. Maybe it happens when you want to be liked. Maybe it happens when your thoughts are moving faster than your words. Catch that moment. Let it signal a pause. That pause is where control begins. It's where you catch your breath, refocus your attention, and regain your center. It might feel uncomfortable at first. It might feel unnatural, but with repetition, it becomes part of you. Think of your words like footsteps. When you walk too fast, you trip. When you walk too slow, you hesitate. But when you find a pace that matches your strength, you move with intention. Speaking works the same way. If your pace is constantly rushed, your message stumbles. If you slow too much, you lose connection. But when you find that steady rhythm, firm but relaxed, you project clarity. You begin to speak in a way that matches the seriousness of what you believe. This is especially important when speaking in high-stakes situations. Whether you're giving feedback, speaking in public, or expressing something that matters deeply to you, your delivery will shape how your message is received. People remember what they feel, and when you speak slowly and clearly, they feel your confidence. They feel your respect for the moment. They sense your intention. That's how you create impact, not by saying more, but by saying what matters in a way that feels grounded. Slowing your speech also gives others space to absorb what you're saying. Not everyone processes information at the same speed. If you rush, your words outpace your listeners' understanding. But when you slow down, you give their mind time to keep up. You make room for your message to land. You give your words a chance to be heard, not just heard through, but felt. And that's where real communication happens, in the space between your words and the listener's response. There's a kind of discipline in resisting the urge to fill space. Speaking slowly requires comfort with silence. It requires the courage to hold tension without collapsing into noise. And it requires the humility to let your message breathe without crowding it with excess. But with that discipline comes a deeper kind of strength. You stop depending on volume or speed to carry your message. You start relying on clarity, on presence, on stillness. Your breath is your anchor. When you slow your breath, you naturally slow your voice. Begin by paying attention to your breathing before you speak. Breathe in with intention. Breathe out with calm. Let that breath set the pace for your next sentence. When your body is calm, your words become steadier. Your voice lowers. Your pitch evens out. You sound more certain, not because you're trying to, but because your body is supporting your message. You don't need to become robotic. This isn't about dragging out words or speaking unnaturally slow. It's about finding the pace that allows you to be clear, centered, and expressive. A pace that allows emotion without overwhelm, that allows passion without panic, that allows urgency without rushing. Your ideal pace is one that allows your words to carry your values. And that kind of pacing can only come when you're intentional. Practice this daily. Choose small moments on the phone. during a conversation, even when speaking to yourself, to slow your delivery. Listen to your voice. Notice where you speed up. Notice where you hesitate. Use those moments to make micro-adjustments. Speak one word at a time. Feel the weight of each syllable. Don't rush to the end of the sentence. Let it build. Let it rise. Let it finish when the thought is ready, not before. Over time, this rhythm becomes natural. You'll find yourself speaking with more ease, even in difficult conversations. You'll hear your own voice sound more grounded. You'll sense the shift in how people respond to you, not because you've changed what you say, but because you've changed how you say it. You've brought more care into each word. You've given more space to the moment. And in doing so, you've become more powerful, not through dominance, but through clarity and control. The world responds to people who carry their voice with intention. When you slow your speech, you bring your thoughts, body, and message into alignment. That alignment is what creates presence. It's what makes you trustworthy. It's what makes you memorable. You don't need to race to be heard. You need to speak in a way that shows you respect your words enough not to waste them. Speak slowly. Speak deliberately. Speak from a place of calm strength. That's how your voice becomes more than sound. It becomes influence. Chapter 7. Simplify your words to sound more like yourself. When you simplify your words, you unlock the power of authenticity. Speaking clearly with straightforward language allows your true self to shine through. It builds trust because people sense honesty in simplicity. Complex or fancy words can create distance, making your message harder to understand and less relatable. But when your words reflect your natural way of thinking and speaking, you connect more deeply, you become approachable and real. The urge to use complicated language often comes from wanting to impress or prove something. It may feel like showing intelligence or sophistication, but real communication isn't about showing off. It's about being understood. It's about bridging the gap between you and your listener. When you speak simply, you respect the listener's time and attention. You avoid confusion and invite clarity. Simplifying your language means choosing words that feel natural and true to you. It doesn't mean dumbing down your ideas. Instead, it means expressing complex thoughts in ways that anyone can follow. It's about cutting away unnecessary words that clutter your message. It's about finding the core idea and stating it plainly. When you do this, you create space for your message to be heard clearly. This process begins with awareness. Listen to how you speak. Notice when your words become tangled or overly technical. Ask yourself if you're using a long phrase when a short one will do. Reflect on whether a simpler word would carry the same meaning. Practice rewriting sentences in your mind or on paper to make them more direct. This habit trains your brain to think clearly and speak plainly. Another key step is to embrace your natural vocabulary. Every person has words that feel comfortable and familiar. These words form your unique voice. When you use them consistently, you sound confident because you aren't trying to imitate others. You speak from your own experience. This honesty creates connection. People feel like they are hearing from a real person, not a performance. Simplifying your words also helps when emotions run high. When we are upset or nervous, it's easy to stumble over complicated sentences, but simple words flow more easily. They reduce the chance of being misunderstood. They allow you to express yourself clearly, even when feelings are intense. In moments like these, straightforward language is a lifeline. It keeps your communication honest and grounded. Consider how everyday conversations happen. People don't use jargon or elaborate speech when talking to friends or family. They use clear, relatable language. This is the kind of speaking that builds relationships. It invites openness. It creates trust. Bringing that style into professional or formal situations doesn't make you less capable. It makes you more human and accessible. Reading is a great way to improve your ability to simplify. Notice how great writers express ideas plainly but powerfully. They avoid overcomplication, yet never lose depth. When you read with this in mind, you train your mind to spot unnecessary complexity. You learn to appreciate the elegance of simplicity. Then you can apply these lessons in your own speech. It's important to remember that simplifying doesn't mean losing nuance. You can still be thoughtful and precise without confusing your audience. Take time to organize your thoughts before speaking. Break down your ideas into key points. Use examples or stories to illustrate complex topics. This makes your message vivid and easy to follow without overwhelming the listener. Practice is essential. Challenge yourself to explain your thoughts in fewer words each day. When preparing for conversations, try writing out what you want to say, then cutting it in half. Focus on clarity and impact. Speak slowly as you simplify. Notice how your audience responds to straightforward words. Adjust based on feedback to find your authentic voice. Simplifying also requires courage. It means resisting the temptation to fill space with extra words or complicated phrases. It means trusting that your real ideas are valuable without embellishment. This confidence grows over time as you see how simplicity wins respect. It's a discipline that strengthens your communication and your character. When you simplify your words, you also free your mind. Complex language can trap you in mental clutter, making it harder to think clearly. Simple words clear the path for better focus and creativity. They help you express yourself without confusion or hesitation. Your mind and voice work together smoothly, creating stronger, more confident speech. People notice when someone speaks simply and honestly. They feel drawn to that authenticity. It builds rapport faster than eloquence or fancy words ever will. When you simplify your language, you become easier to listen to. Your message sticks. Your presence grows. You leave a lasting impression rooted in truth, not style. This is the essence of speaking more like yourself. Your voice is your tool, but your words are your identity. Using simple, clear language reveals who you really are. It shows your values, your intelligence, and your heart. It reflects the real you, not a polished mask or a scripted performance. Keep in mind that everyone can improve this skill. It's a journey, not a destination. With deliberate effort, you can shed habits of overcomplication and embrace clarity. This change transforms how you relate to others and how they hear you. It opens doors to deeper connections, greater influence, and personal fulfillment. Simplify your words to be understood clearly. Simplify to build genuine trust. Simplify to honor your listeners' time and attention. Simplify to reflect your true self. When your words are simple, your voice becomes powerful. It carries honesty and strength that no complexity can replace. Speaking simply is not less. It is more real, more effective, more you. Chapter 8. Ask hard questions to deepen your communication skills. Asking hard questions is one of the most powerful ways to elevate your communication and deepen your understanding of others and yourself. It moves conversations beyond surface-level exchanges and invites meaningful exploration. When you challenge yourself to ask difficult questions, you create space for clarity, growth, and genuine connection. This approach transforms communication from mere information sharing into an opportunity for insight and transformation. Difficult questions require courage because they often push against comfort zones. They challenge assumptions, expose blind spots, and reveal truths that are easy to avoid. Yet, this discomfort is exactly what leads to growth. Embracing hard questions teaches resilience. It develops emotional intelligence by encouraging patience, empathy, and openness to new perspectives. Rather than fearing confrontation or silence, you learn to welcome deeper dialogue as a path to understanding. Asking tough questions begins with curiosity and honesty. It means seeking real answers, not just polite agreement. This requires a mindset that values truth over ease. When you genuinely want to understand someone, your questions naturally become more thoughtful and probing. You start to listen actively, noticing what's said and what's left unsaid. This awareness shapes questions that invite reflection rather than defensiveness. One practical step is to prepare yourself mentally for these conversations. Reflect on your intentions before asking hard questions. Are you seeking to learn, to challenge, or to solve? Clarifying your purpose helps you frame questions with respect and clarity. It also keeps the conversation constructive, focusing on growth rather than blame or judgment. Hard questions can target various areas. You might ask about values, motivations, fears, or experiences. For example, instead of asking, "Did you like the project?" try, "What was the most challenging part of the project for you and why?" This kind of question invites detailed thought and honest sharing. It encourages the other person to go deeper and opens the door to meaningful exchange. Another important aspect is timing. Hard questions work best when the environment feels safe and the relationship has some foundation. If trust is lacking, probing questions can feel intrusive or threatening. Building rapport through active listening and empathy lays the groundwork for deeper inquiry. When people feel heard and respected, they are more willing to engage openly. Asking tough questions also sharpens your own thinking. When you challenge others, you inevitably confront your own beliefs. This process encourages self-reflection and humility. You learn to recognize your biases and gaps in knowledge. By engaging in honest inquiry, your perspective broadens, allowing you to communicate with greater insight and empathy. Effective questioning involves balancing directness with sensitivity. Being too blunt can shut down conversation, while being too vague can leave questions unanswered. Craft questions that are clear and specific, but also compassionate. Phrases like, "Can you help me understand?" or "What led you to that conclusion?" soften the delivery and invite cooperation. Developing this skill requires practice. Start by introducing one or two thoughtful questions into daily conversations. Notice how people respond and adjust your approach accordingly. Over time, you will become more comfortable with complexity and nuance. Your ability to navigate difficult topics with grace will improve, strengthening your communication in personal and professional settings. Asking hard questions also means being ready to handle unexpected answers. People's responses might challenge your assumptions or trigger discomfort. This is an opportunity to practice patience and control. Respond with curiosity instead of defensiveness. Use follow-up questions to explore deeper rather than retreating or dismissing. This openness fosters trust and encourages ongoing dialogue. Another benefit of asking difficult questions is that it models vulnerability. When you show willingness to explore tough topics, others feel safer doing the same. This creates a dynamic of mutual respect and honesty. Communication becomes a shared journey rather than a one-sided exchange. You become a catalyst for growth, not only in yourself, but in those around you. Hard questions can also clarify goals and expectations. In professional environments, asking direct questions about priorities, challenges, and concerns prevents misunderstandings. It keeps teams aligned and focused. In personal relationships, these questions uncover needs and desires that might otherwise remain hidden. This clarity strengthens bonds and reduces conflict. Cultivating the habit of asking challenging questions changes your communication style fundamentally. It moves you from passive receiver or surface-level talker into an active, engaged conversationalist. This role commands respect and invites cooperation. People recognize you as someone who values depth and meaning. Your conversations gain weight and significance. It is important to balance asking questions with listening deeply. A question without genuine attention to the answer loses impact. Practice full presence in conversations. Give your focus entirely to the speaker. Avoid interrupting or planning your next point while they speak. When you listen well, your follow-up questions become sharper and more relevant. Asking hard questions also aligns with personal mastery. It reflects a commitment to truth and growth. It requires discipline to hold space for discomfort and ambiguity. This discipline builds inner strength. It teaches you to remain calm and thoughtful under pressure. Over time, this steadiness becomes a defining feature of your communication style. You can create your own toolkit of challenging questions tailored to your goals. These might include inquiries about values, priorities, assumptions, or emotions. Having these ready helps you initiate deep conversations confidently. When you encounter complex situations, you can draw from your toolkit to guide the discussion productively. In moments of conflict or misunderstanding, hard questions can diffuse tension. Instead of reacting emotionally, you can ask questions that invite reflection. For example, what do you think is the main issue here? Or how can we approach this differently? These questions shift focus from blame to problem solving, fostering cooperation. Ultimately, asking hard questions is an act of respect for yourself and others. It shows that you value clarity and honesty over convenience. It demonstrates that you are willing to engage deeply rather than settle for superficial answers. This integrity builds trust and inspires others to communicate more openly. Mastering this skill opens doors to richer conversations and deeper relationships. It enhances your ability to influence and lead. It empowers you to navigate complexity with confidence. By asking hard questions, you cultivate a mindset of lifelong learning and continuous improvement. This approach is not about being confrontational or critical. It's about being courageous and curious. It's about inviting dialogue that challenges and expands perspectives. It's about embracing the full spectrum of human experience in communication. When you ask hard questions, you become a better listener, thinker, and speaker. The journey of deepening your communication through hard questions never truly ends. Each conversation offers new lessons and opportunities. With practice, patience, and presence, you will grow into a communicator who connects authentically and speaks with wisdom. This transformation enriches every aspect of your life, helping you build stronger bonds and express your truth with clarity and strength. Chapter 9. Remove filler words to speak with strong impact. Removing filler words from your speech transforms the way you communicate and strengthens the impact of every sentence. Words like, and so often slip in without notice, but they dilute your message and make your delivery seem uncertain or unfocused. Clearing these unnecessary fillers gives your voice clarity and authority, which builds confidence and invites respect from listeners. The power of your words rises when each statement is deliberate and precise. Filler words often appear because of habit or nerves. They can serve as placeholders while the mind searches for the right thought. Although common, their presence distracts from what truly matters, the content of your message. When you speak without fillers, you signal control over your ideas and a clear connection between your thoughts and words. This control allows listeners to focus fully on your meaning rather than the manner of your speech. To reduce fillers, begin by increasing your awareness. Record your conversations or presentations and listen carefully. Notice how often filler words emerge and under what circumstances. This awareness is the first step toward change because you cannot fix what you don't see. Recognizing your patterns reveals moments where you tend to lose focus or feel uncertain. Next, practice deliberate pauses instead of filling silence with sounds. Silence is often feared in conversation, but it can be powerful. A brief pause gives your mind time to gather the next thought and signals to your audience that you are thoughtful and intentional. Embracing silence requires patience but develops your rhythm and pacing, which are essential for impactful speaking. Slowing down your speech naturally helps remove fillers. When you rush, the brain and mouth lose synchronization, increasing the chance of hesitation sounds. Speaking more slowly allows your thoughts to catch up with your words and reduces the need for filler words. This deliberate pace also makes your speech easier to follow and more compelling. Building a strong vocabulary also supports filler elimination. When you have the right word readily available, there is less searching and less chance to fill gaps with meaningless sounds. Expanding your vocabulary through reading, listening, and practicing new words strengthens your verbal toolbox and enhances your ability to express ideas succinctly. Another effective technique is to practice structured speaking exercises. These might include preparing brief speeches or answers to common questions and delivering them without fillers. Repetition solidifies the habit of clear speech and builds muscle memory. Over time, your brain trains itself to speak cleanly, even under pressure. Visual cues can aid your progress. Keeping a small note or token nearby during conversations reminds you to stay mindful of fillers. When you notice yourself slipping, gently bring your focus back to speaking clearly. This self-correction reinforces discipline and gradually rewires your natural speaking habits. It is important to be gentle with yourself in this process. Eliminating fillers is not about perfection but about progress. It is natural for them to appear occasionally, especially when you are learning. The goal is consistent improvement and increased awareness, not immediate flawlessness. Celebrate small victories and stay committed. Improved articulation through filler removal impacts more than just your spoken words. It strengthens your internal dialogue. When you speak clearly and confidently aloud, your inner voice mirrors this clarity. This internal alignment boosts self-esteem and sharpens mental focus. You begin thinking with more precision and communicating with greater authenticity. This clarity also influences how others perceive you. People naturally trust speakers who sound confident and intentional. Your ideas carry more weight and your presence becomes more commanding. Whether in personal conversations, professional settings, or public speaking, the reduction of filler words enhances your credibility and influence. Listening to skilled speakers is an excellent way to internalize this clarity. Pay attention to how effective communicators use pauses and avoid fillers. Notice their pacing and emphasis. Emulating these qualities will help integrate strong speech patterns into your own style. Over time, these habits become second nature. Engaging in mindful conversations further supports your goal. Focus fully on your words and their impact in real time. Avoid multitasking or rushing through interactions. The more present you are, the less likely fillers will slip in. Mindfulness sharpens your attention and deepens your connection with others. Filler words can also signal anxiety or lack of preparation. Addressing the root causes of nervousness through practice and mental preparation reduces their frequency. Preparing your material thoroughly before speaking builds confidence. When your mind is settled and your thoughts are organized, your speech flows naturally and clearly. Physical techniques assist as well. Relaxing your body and breathing deeply before speaking calms nerves and supports vocal control. Tension often causes rushed or shaky speech. Increasing filler usage, breathing exercises, posture awareness, and vocal warm-ups prepare you to speak with power and clarity. Feedback from trusted friends or mentors provides valuable perspective. They can gently point out filler use you might miss and offer encouragement. Constructive input motivates continuous improvement and helps maintain accountability. Sharing your progress with supportive people strengthens your resolve. Using technology can be beneficial too. Speech analysis apps or recording devices provide objective data on your filler frequency and speaking pace. This feedback helps track your growth and identify moments needing attention. Technology offers a practical resource for ongoing self-coaching. Ultimately, the journey to remove filler words transforms how you relate to your voice. It cultivates patience, self-awareness, and intentionality. Speaking with strong impact is less about impressing others and more about honoring your own ideas with clarity and respect. This discipline empowers you to express your truth boldly and authentically. As you reduce filler words, notice the shift in your relationships. Conversations deepen, misunderstandings lessen, and your presence becomes magnetic. People listen more attentively because your words matter. You become a communicator who commands attention without demanding it. This mastery also enriches your self-image. When you hear yourself speak clearly, confidence grows from within. Your inner voice gains strength and supports you in every area of life. Communication is no longer a source of stress but a skill that propels you forward. Each day offers opportunities to practice. Use moments in meetings, casual chats, or personal reflections to speak deliberately. With consistency, filler words become less frequent and your voice gains authority. This gradual change builds momentum toward lifelong improvement. Removing filler words is a foundational step in becoming more articulate. It opens the door to powerful expression and meaningful connection. The clarity you create transforms your experience of communication and strengthens your ability to influence and inspire. This process requires commitment, patience, and courage. It challenges you to slow down, listen deeply to yourself, and embrace silence. It invites you to step fully into your voice and own your message without apology or hesitation. As clarity grows, so does your capacity to lead conversations, share ideas, and build relationships grounded in trust. Your words carry weight because they come from a place of confidence and purpose. Speaking without fillers is not just a technique, it is a declaration that your voice matters. Keep moving forward with determination and self-compassion. Each clear sentence spoken is a victory and a step toward mastery. With every practice session, your speech becomes stronger, your presence more commanding, and your influence deeper. In this transformation lies the power to change not only how others hear you, but how you hear yourself. Speaking without filler words is an act of respect for your ideas, your listeners, and your own potential. It is the foundation for articulate communication and meaningful connection. Chapter 10. Lead your life to speak with clear direction. Clear, purposeful communication starts long before the words leave your lips. It is born from the way you live your life, the clarity of your values, the firmness of your goals, and the discipline with which you pursue them. Speaking with clear direction is a reflection of leading a life with clear direction. When your inner compass is steady, your voice naturally follows suit, projecting confidence, certainty, and influence. To speak with clear direction means more than just choosing the right words. It means you understand who you are, what matters most, and where you want to go. Every sentence you form carries the weight of intention because it aligns with your deeper purpose. This alignment cannot be faked or hurried. It requires consistent self-awareness, intentional living, and the courage to make choices that support your truth. Living with clarity begins by defining what you stand for. What principles guide your decisions? What boundaries do you set for yourself? When these are in place, your communication becomes an extension of your values. You no longer speak to fill silence or please others, but to share something meaningful. This foundation builds a voice that resonates because it is authentic and unwavering. A life without direction breeds hesitation and confusion, both internally and in conversation. When goals are vague or absent, thoughts scatter and speech becomes uncertain. This uncertainty shows in the tone, the pace, and the content of your communication. Listeners can sense when you lack conviction, and the impact of your message diminishes. Leading your life with purpose creates an inner certainty that shines through every word you say. Clarifying your goals anchors your mind. It turns abstract desires into concrete aims that guide your daily actions. When your goals are clear, you cultivate mental discipline, which is essential for articulate speech. Thoughts arrange themselves logically, making it easier to express ideas with precision. This mental order mirrors the structure of effective communication, where clarity and coherence reign. The process of clarifying your direction demands honesty. It calls for examining your motivations, strengths, and weaknesses without denial. This self-reflection is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Understanding your limitations allows you to speak humbly yet confidently, acknowledging what you know and what you seek to learn. Such honesty enhances trust and deepens connection. Once your direction is defined, discipline becomes the engine that drives your progress. Discipline is the consistent effort to live according to your chosen path, even when distractions and temptations arise. It means choosing your words carefully because you have chosen your life carefully. This practice sharpens your ability to communicate with intent and control, making every interaction purposeful. Living with direction also means embracing responsibility for your words. Your speech is a tool to create reality, not just to react to it. When you accept responsibility for what you say, you choose your expressions deliberately. This accountability transforms your voice into an instrument of influence, persuasion, and leadership. It is a hallmark of those who live and speak with integrity. The clarity you cultivate in life affects how you handle uncertainty and setbacks. Challenges no longer derail your communication because you understand they are part of the journey. Your speech reflects resilience and steadiness, inspiring confidence in those who listen. This consistency arises from a mind anchored in clear direction, rather than one tossed by external circumstances. Focus plays a crucial role in maintaining clear direction. Distractions fragment your attention and scatter your thoughts. When your focus falters, your words lose power. Cultivating daily habits that enhance concentration, such as meditation, journaling, or deliberate planning, strengthens your mind's capacity to sustain clarity. This mental fitness is directly linked to how clearly you express yourself. Another vital aspect of leading your life to speak with direction is emotional mastery. Emotions can cloud judgment and distort communication. When you learn to observe your emotions without being controlled by them, you create space for thoughtful speech. This emotional discipline does not mean suppressing feelings, but rather choosing how and when to express them in a way that serves your purpose. Clear communication also requires a willingness to say no. Not every opportunity or conversation deserves your voice. Selectivity in speaking is a reflection of selectivity in living. Protecting your time and energy preserves the strength of your message. Speaking less, but with more substance, builds a reputation for meaningful contribution, which amplifies your influence. Leading your life with clear direction means embracing continuous growth. Learning, adapting, and refining your understanding deepens your wisdom and enriches your communication. This openness to growth keeps your voice dynamic and relevant. It also models humility and courage, qualities that attract respect and inspire others. Authenticity is the cornerstone of clear direction. When your words align with your true self, your communication flows naturally. Pretending to be someone else or adopting a false persona fractures your message and creates dissonance. Authenticity nurtures trust and invites genuine connection, the soil where impactful communication grows. Your daily choices reinforce this alignment. The habits you cultivate, the people you surround yourself with, and the environments you engage shape your mindset and language. Leading your life means curating these influences thoughtfully. The clearer your surroundings and routines support your goals, the clearer your speech becomes. Speaking with direction also involves understanding your audience without losing yourself. This balance is crucial. You respect others' perspectives, tailoring your message for clarity and relevance, but you do not compromise your core values or dilute your intent. This skill requires emotional intelligence and strong self-awareness. Preparation is another pillar of directed speech. Before engaging in important conversations, take time to organize your thoughts and clarify your desired outcome. Preparation reduces anxiety and ensures your message is coherent and impactful. It also signals respect for yourself and others, enhancing the quality of the interaction. Reflection completes this cycle of clarity. After speaking, review your words and their effects. What worked? What could be improved? This self-assessment fosters continuous refinement of both your life direction and your communication. Reflection builds humility and sharpens your ability to learn from experience. In essence, speaking with clear direction is the natural product of living deliberately. When your life is guided by purpose, your words become weapons of influence and instruments of change. This clarity in communication empowers you to inspire others, lead with confidence, and manifest your vision into reality. The journey to clear speech begins with the commitment to lead your life with intention. It requires patience, courage, and resilience to stand firm in your values and pursue your goals relentlessly. But the reward is a voice that commands attention and a life that commands respect. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to reflect your inner clarity. Each word you speak affirms your identity and your mission. The power of your speech grows in direct proportion to the clarity of your life's direction. By leading your life with purpose, you eliminate doubt from your communication. You reduce noise and distraction, allowing your message to shine. Your voice becomes an extension of your character, strong, clear, and purposeful. This alignment between life and speech cultivates peace within. When your inner world is ordered, your external expression follows. Speaking becomes not a task, but a natural outpouring of your disciplined mind and steadfast heart. Take responsibility for your life's direction and watch your voice transform. Let your daily choices be the groundwork for clear, impactful communication. Build habits that reinforce your vision and values. Honor your words by living the truth they express. The clarity you seek in speech is a reflection of the clarity you foster in life. They grow together, each nourishing the other. The clearer your purpose, the clearer your words. The clearer your words, the stronger your presence. Embrace this truth. Lead your life with intention, and your voice will carry the unmistakable power of clear direction. It will draw others, open doors, and create the influence you desire. This is the path to becoming not just a better speaker, but a master of your own destiny.